Hi guys dan selamat kembali ke Studio Sembang bersama saya Amy. In the studio this week we have world champion bowler from Malaysia. That's right. Kita ada Natasha Roslan. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Thank you so much meluangkan masa bersama kami. Okay, so I baru dapat tahu hari ni, Natasha just told me this, but apparently we go really way back. Kita first jumpa 20 tahun lepas korang. Oh my god. The fact that we've been alive for 20 tahun pun dah cukup
Betul?
seram kan? Macam 20 years ago. What do you mean?
No,
So kita pernah disekalikan dalam sketsa Bintang Kecil, Emilia dan rakan-rakan.
Ya, kalau lah ada gambar tu kan.
Kan, kita kena cari balik. So mungkin kalau ada di luar sana lah, siapa-siapa yang pernah nampak ataupun pernah ada ataupun masih ada copy of this sketsa ni, korang boleh lah share tu gambar tu dengan kita orang. Kita orang tengah cari ni. But I can't believe, can you imagine kita start dekat mana dan sekarang kita jumpa balik and you're a world champion.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome. Congratulations. I'm
Thank
so
you.
proud.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So I nak tahu macam mana you boleh sampai dekat sini dan semua pasal you punya journey. So kita akan mula dengan soalan yang sama setiap minggu, which is, how was your childhood? What was it like?
Just normal. My mom teacher. My dad is a businessman. So, I started main bowling ni pun sebab I selalu ikut my mom pergi MSSD, MSSS semua. So, it all started memang, we are very close family. So, bila-bila my mom pergi mana-mana, I always follow. Pergi bowling ke, pergi any sports yang dia jaga. Tapi bowling is the only sports yang I rasa macam attracted to. Sebab tu, I memang boleh stay daripada pagi sampai malam dekat bowling alley.
Okay. Yang bukan nak cakap, it's interesting lah. Yang unique I rasa pasal you punya kehidupan adalah you start jadi kompetitif pada usia yang sangat-sangat muda.
Yeah.
Dan saya rasa dalam semua sukan saya pernah fikir bowling mungkin di antara yang terakhir sekali yang I akan fikir nak jadi kompetitif.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so macam mana benda tu boleh tukar daripada sesuatu yang memang you suka ataupun untuk mengisi masa lapang ke as a hobby untuk jadi sesuatu yang you training untuk jadi kompetitif?
Because it's more to passion bermula. I suka because bila strike bunyi tu, it's like macam dia attract me tau. So bila I strike and then I started training, main-main saja-saja. Ada one of the coach approach my mom, cakap dia ada talent.
Wow.
So my mom jenis yang very strict. So dia kata okay, you train first. So dia belanja I 1 bola je masa tu. Train sampai I 9 years old. From I started 7 sampai 9, 1 bola je. Dia kata, if you betul-betul suka, then only I buy you a new ball.
Wow.
So, bila I dah start lama tu, I cakap, okay, I memang serious nak start. Barulah dapat the second ball.
Bila you decide you serious nak start?
Masa I start masuk MSSD. Itu pun saja je. With 1 ball, I try masuk MSSD. And then, I qualified for MSSS.
Wow.
So, since that, my mom kata, okay lah, we buy another ball. And my dad pula jenis yang kata, kalau you nak pursue bowling, you kena make sure you sampai target jadi world champ one day. Itu masa I kecil dia dah
pasang niat macam tu. Wow.
So my target is jadi world champ lah. Sebab I tak boleh, I pantang kena cabar. So and I like challenge. So I rasa macam one day I nak prove to my dad yang apa dia cabar I tu, I will prove it to him that I buat macam tu.
Oh, okay. And she did it. So pada usia sangat muda, contohnya apabila dapat cabaran sebegitu, did you ever feel pressured by it? Like, oh my god, sekarang I nak kena.
Masa kecil tak lah. It's more on macam fun. Tapi bila dah start masuk MSSM dengan I masuk for Sukma, then baru start the pressure. Because tengok all my senior macam mana semua, and then they all orang luar letak pressure, letak okay, you have to win this goal, blah blah blah. So time tu baru start macam oh, memang ni kena serius. Macam tu lah.
Faham? I think bowling tu sebenarnya apa yang orang tak nampak is it's kind of like a commitment.
Yeah.
You betul-betul kena training, and then the balls are not cheap. Then the kasut pun is a special type of thing,
Yeah,
and then
betul.
all of this training and stuff is it's a commitment for not just you, tapi bila you usia sangat muda, for your entire family juga. What about the sport did you love so much? Apa was it like a feeling, or was it something yang physical pasal the sport? Do you like to like, mungkin you ada bakat untuk throwing, or was it more like a mental, oh I love this because dia buat I rasa begitu. What did you love it for?
One is because dalam aircon, so I tak which is
Smart.
true, right?
Yeah.
So I ada masa tu is either bowling, netball or handball. So I choose bowling sebab dalam aircon. And one thing, secondly, sebab my mom cakap she can support me. I mean, dia boleh datang tengok. Which kalau handball dengan ni, dia panas, dia tak nak datang. So, and then at the same time, masa time tu, bila you baling strike, I suka tengok orang semua jerit for you. And then the supporters semua happy. Itu yang start macam I memang betul-betul, oh okay, I wanted nak more lah, nak tengok macam mana, how far I can go masa tu.
Faham. Tapi dia bukan saja pengorbanan tu. I rasa yang untuk seorang muda, I'm sure there was a lot of other things that you had to give up untuk mengejar, because you were really successful as a child. And I think bila you pursue mana-mana career ataupun competitive industry as a child, you kena meluangkan masa dekat situ. Dan kadang-kadang masa tu akan menarik perhatian you ataupun akan membuatkan jadual you jadi sangat singkat, to a point where macam kalau kawan-kawan invite you ke mana-mana ke, you boleh pergi ke dulu?
No, because half of my time semua sekolah pun my attendance pun 30% je. Because because I half day dah pergi training for Sukma masa tu. Time tu Sukma, and then lepas tu bila masuk national team is mostly training pagi. So and tournament pun you cannot skip because your job is there. So memang attendance 30%, but I am grateful because my friends semua jenis yang I skip pun, they will call me to make sure I buat semua homework. So I tak skip all the macam yang important stuff lah. Whatever it is, my study tu still number one lah. So I memang skip most of half of my life untuk bowling. Tapi at the same time, I'm grateful that my friends, my family semua support. So certain people tak ada that strong support system, but I have that. So I am memang bersyukur sangatlah yang tu.
When did you realise macam mungkin kehidupan you tak sama macam budak-budak yang lain?
Started masa I 11 kot. Sebab time tu dah start masuk MSSM, MSSD. So time tu memang half of the year dah mostly training. And then bila masuk Sukma tu, petang ke malam training and gym. So bila pergi sekolah tu dah penat. So ada certain time tu I macam minta skip sekolah lah sebab dah terlalu letih with the timetable kan. Tapi but bila off season, I still spend time dengan my friends, dengan my family. So tu yang most important for me lah.
Was it easy for you to macam relate dengan budak-budak yang lain? Sebab I'm sure apa yang you risaukan tu is like competition and stuff, yang tak ramai boleh relate dengan that concept kan.
Dia awal-awal susah, tapi after a while you dah jadikan routine, daily routine you. So memang dah nothing. And then kawan-kawan you pun jenis yang dah faham you. So ada setengah yang tak faham, dia tinggalkan you, but setengah yang faham, they will stick by you all the all the time. And then bila I cakap I need help, dia orang sanggup datang after school just untuk ajar I. So that kind of thing, macam I am grateful that I tak miss sekolah, and the same time I tak buang bowling macam tu je lah. Sebab certain people you have to choose either study or bowling, right? But I dapat both.
Yeah, which is really good. Pernah tak terasa macam you missed out on a bit of a childhood because you spent so much time?
Pernah, certain times sampai sekarang pun my best friend's wedding tak dapat pergi. So benda macam tu, tapi itulah social media sekarang, and then FaceTime pun ada, right? So benda tu tak terasa sangat, tapi deep down adalah sebab you've been friends for so long, right? So I ada jugalah kadang-kadang sedih, tapi in a way bila I win some titles, dia macam fikir balik, it's all worth it lah.
Yeah, faham? Okay. It's a tough choice sebenarnya, dan satu pengorbanan yang sangat besar. Tapi macam you cakap kan, berbaloi lah kalau dia jadi world champion kan? Okay, so my next couple of questions is about, I have a list kan of all of the things yang kita dapat jumpa yang you pernah menang. And I said this is like a lot. This is a lot. Okay, tapi dalam semua-semua yang you pernah main, I rasa there's a couple of like really interesting stories that stick out. For example, main untuk 8 jam dekat the Asian Games. That must be so tiring.
Yeah, penat.
Ya, I rasa ramai orang mungkin takkan terfikir benda ni kan. Tapi bowling, dia nampak macam sejenis sport yang, sebab kita biasa tengok macam sprinting ataupun atletik. So tu kita tahulah benda tu penat. Tapi bowling biasanya orang akan fikir macam, alah tak penat sangat pun. Tapi I rasa lepas 8 jam mesti your tangan you mesti lenguh gila kan.
Dia tangan, kaki, mental lah especially.
Yeah.
Mental exhausted. Memang dah habis tu memang exhausted gila.
So macam mana you train mental you untuk boleh hadap situation macam tu?
More to experience, I think, because kita orang dah go through banyak. And then at the same time, I memang tengok all my senior jenis yang train macam tu. And before tournament besar, normally macam Asian Games or SEA Games, kita orang akan prepare ourselves macam mana dalam tournament juga.
So contohnya training you macam memang 8 jam berturut-turut ke macam mana?
We all train 2 session, contohnya 10 to 12, and then break 1 hour and then 2 to 4. So just to prepare yourself macam mana the whole masa tournament tu lah. So ready or not tu you dah ada lah macam mana penat tu masa tournament.
Yeah, okay, cool. And I think that, okay, this is another question that I think orang takkan tahu selain kalau you betul-betul like are a professional bowler. What do you think is more required untuk jadi seorang bowler professional? Adakah dia kekuatan fizikal ataupun kekuatan mental sebenarnya?
I think more to mental.
Yeah.
Sebab bowling is a mental game. You main dengan lane tu je. Lane dengan you sendiri. Orang luar semua tak ada kena-mengena. So physical tu penting, tapi mental is more important lah. Sebab bila orang psycho you, benda-benda macam tu, environment, semua tu you kena put aside for you to focus dengan you punya lane sendiri je.
Dan kalau dia macam tu kan, kalau contohnya kan, it's just you and the lane. Tak ada variables lain yang boleh bertukar dalam, because it's just you and the lane kan. Dan benda tu is a consistent. Tak boleh ke lah kalau you nak dapat, you already know how to do the thing, do the strike or whatever, right? Then you just hafal benda tu and then just copy and paste setiap kali. Apa perbezaan? Yeah, so this is what I want to know.
Okay, sebab there's different oiling patterns. So setiap lane tu tak sama tau. Dia punya build tu macam different. Ada yang macam mungkin sini dry sikit. So bila you pindah lane lain, you kena adapt with that lane pula. So memang time tu memang you nak tukar you punya bola ke apa is only on berapa frame tu je, 12 frames tu je. So benda tu important for us lah. So every frame, every lane is different, and then you kena faham macam mana bola ni sesuai ke tak dengan lane ni, and then you punya physical you okay ke tak. Lepas tu mental you pun, bila you tak dapat ke, you marah, ego you start to take over. Benda tu semua mainkan peranan.
Apakah dia antara cabaran terbesar yang mungkin you nak kena hadap pada permulaan career you? Was it like, what was your biggest challenge? I think dalam anybody's perspective kan, if you're trying to chase after something, kita semua ada kelemahan dan kekuatan sendiri. So what would you say as an athlete, your biggest strength in bowling was and your biggest weakness juga?
My biggest strength is mental. I boleh put aside benda-benda yang kacau-kacau my mind untuk just for that game. And then my weakness is, I think, physical lah, because I ada injury. I had a TFCC tear, so benda tu tak recover sampai sekarang. But I still buat benda tu macam challenge untuk I gym, workout ataupun pergi physio. So senang cerita, kita kena masuk bengkel every time lepas tournament lah.
Yeah. To repair it, right?
Yeah.
How did you tear it?
Because of bowling.
Was it during a tournament or was it during training?
During training, tapi lepas tu sakit tak boleh main, so I skip 6 months untuk recover for the tear to recover. Tapi tu pun tak fully. Sebab doktor kata if nak fully kena operate. Yeah, but no. For me, kalau operate, you nak come back tu maybe 2 to 3 years pun tak sure lagi.
Oh really?
It depends on your body boleh nak recover ke tak. Tapi
but even ACL injuries is like 6 months to a year kan? 2 years?
Yeah, tapi sometimes orang boleh cepat. Sometimes body you maybe you malas nak gym ke, you malas nak physio or whatever. Dia akan delay lah. Sebab once you dah 6 months tu, you macam, alamak boringnya buat benda sama je everyday. You cannot go training. So benda macam tu lah.
Okay, faham. Dia, wow, susah kan? Okay, mungkin kalau ada orang tengok yang macam ada misconception terhadap bowling ke apa ke, what do you think the biggest misconception that people have of bowlers and why are they wrong?
I think that one because they always say macam bowling ni easy. Dia cakap bowling ni more to luck. So benda tu salah actually. Bowling is mostly is mental game. So I rasa benda macam tu orang selalu cakap bowling ni macam recreational sport. It's not a competitive sport. So I think it's wrong because once you dah masuk dalam national team, the target you sendiri. Everyone ada target sendiri. So you nak capai your own target tu pun dah a lot of pressure sebenarnya. So tambah dengan pressure luar.
And I think you've said before also that you spend a lot of time with your team.
Yeah.
Kadang-kadang lebih masa dengan you punya teammates daripada your family.
Betul.
Yeah. So
I call them like my second family dah.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Berapa penting peranan macam dalam satu pasukan apabila mewakili negara?
Oh, it's very important sebab once kalau you macam tak ngam or something, dia akan affect your game sebab kita ada main team event juga. So team event tu mesti kita kena make sure everyone dalam the same situation, same, tak ada stress. So benda tu you kena communicate dengan your teammate. Kalau you tak bercakap dengan someone, jadi susah tau. Macam nanti ada seorang ada kepala sendiri, ada yang tak nak ikut cakap coach or something. Benda tu akan affect game kita orang nanti.
How do you communicate dalam satu situation yang sangat high pressure untuk semua orang yang ada, yang semua dah mengorbankan sesuatu, right? What is like a good communication?
For me lah, sebab I pernah main SEA Games baru-baru ni dengan my junior and diorang memang pressure. So me dengan kawan I seorang lagi ni, we all cakap dengan junior tu, just main macam ni you main training. Apa-apa orang cakap pasal you ke, orang belakang pressure you ke apa, you lane dengan kita orang je. So apa-apa you cakap dengan kita orang because it's only we all yang faham you, orang lain tak faham you. So benda tu pressure, apa-apa pun your coaches, teammate dengan you sendiri je yang faham. So you can talk among us tu je. So since that diorang macam okay, barulah slowly diorang open up. Kalau tak diorang memang very macam takut, duduk diam-diam. Macam tu kita tak nak in bowling.
Faham? It's interesting how macam dia lebih daripada apa yang kita nampak lah.
Ya betul.
Kan? Dia sangat-sangat it's about whether you rasa macam you boleh ke tak. Keyakinan diri mesti penting kan.
Betul. Sometimes you punya overconfident tak bagus juga. So you, whatever it is, you rasa you still need to work something. So everyday you pergi training pun, you menang title berapa banyak pun, everyday you still kena fikir you nak memperbaiki diri sendiri juga. Yeah, that's my mindset lah.
Was confidence very easy for you ke?
Awal-awal tak, tapi after a while, bila dah menang a few titles ni, slowly lah. Tapi I tak cakap lah I 100% confident nak menang every tournament, tapi it's there, just I need to train more.
Okay. I know Datuk Charlene is a huge icon and inspiration for you. Ada tak apa-apa tips yang you boleh bagi tahu kita yang you belajar daripada dia?
Kak Charlene ni dah dengan I since Sukma, and then lepas Sukma dia teammate I, my roommate, and also now since dia kerja dengan MSN, dengan Miss, I pun still go through dia. Whatever. After that, dia dah no more dengan MSN pun, I still contact dengan dia whatever kalau I ada problem. So, Kak Charlene is one of the icon lah for me. Who I look up to. And then, dia letak pressure dekat I every time. Dia kata, you kena make sure you continue my legacy. So, benda tu berat lah sebab everyone bila bowling je, Datuk Charlene. So bila kita nak continue tu, I think I dengan my teammate pun rasa macam very berat. So kita orang akan try, which is very good now because kita orang menang SEA Games juga baru-baru ni. And so I think and I can see that my pelapis pun dah slowly dah ada that step untuk masuk our podium program.
Which is great.
Yeah, which is great because dulu memang susah nak cari pelapis. Now I'm grateful lah sebab semua slowly orang buka mata about bowling. Or they start to send their kids nak try masuk training bowling, nak try main.
Betapa pentingnya untuk seorang atlet muda ada ikon ataupun seorang figura yang boleh mendapat inspirasi daripada that person kan. Like how important is it? Especially I think for like girls in sports. Do you want a drink? How important is it untuk ada macam ikon tu ataupun seorang yang boleh memberi inspirasi kepada anak-anak muda yang baru nak menceburi mana-mana sukan?
I think it's very important sebab kalau kita tak ada icon, kita make sure macam kita takkan ada target tau. So macam my icon is always Datuk Charlene and Datuk Nicole David, because diorang memang dah sampai target yang paling tinggi. So I think to my biggest achievement lah. So for me, I hope that I memang ada, macam nak cakap, icon for the younger now.
Ada apa-apa nak tambah?
So for me, I rasa macam one day I hope I jadi icon for the young kids lah. Macam I have a sister also. So dalam kat rumah tu kadang-kadang bila I main bowling tu, I fikir I have to show good example to my sister juga. So kalau I tunjuk good example to my sister, maybe yang the kids or the pelapis, my juniors akan follow my footstep bila besar nanti untuk continue our legacy.
Interesting. And untuk seorang bowler kan, how do you transition from being like an athlete into becoming somebody yang meninggalkan sebuah legacy, or does it jalan serentak sebenarnya?
Just jalan serentak selalunya. Macam Kak Charlene dulu pun dia menang banyak itu, and then masa tu kita look up to her. So I hope sekarang pun bila I dah menang the first woman or like menang World Cup, so benda tu macam jadi untuk tunjukkan ke the kids yang one day they orang boleh achieve that one also. Yeah.
Kita dah sampai dekat part-part yang betul untuk kita tanya pasal macam mana perasaan jadi world champion buat kali pertama. Ni bukan World Cup world champion buat kali pertama. Sebab dia dah world banyak kali. So what was it like, and can you talk us through the experience of jadi a world champion, dan macam mana perasaan sebenarnya di sebalik tabir sebagai seorang anak muda yang dah mengorbankan banyak untuk sampai dekat tempat tu?
I first time world champion 2023 dekat Kuwait. So time masa qualifying okay, tapi masa dah lepas qualifying tu my thumb terkoyak because I think dah banyak sangat main. So masa dah terkoyak tu, masa I masuk semi, coaches I cakap tak payahlah nak go through because we still have double, trios and team nak main. Tapi time tu I fikir dah sampai all the way, and then I sayang je bagi let go my medal macam tu dekat orang lain. So it's more on mental lah time tu. So I change my perspective from sakit to process one shot at a time. So I memang time tu pedih dia, ya Allah. I rasa time tu Allah je lah tahu macam mana pedih dia. Every time I nak masuk dekat lubang tu, I rasa I boleh nangis, boleh jerit dekat dalam. Tapi at the same time, I tahu I nak fight and prove something that even though you tengah go through sakit ke apa, your mental is the most important. So apa-apa pun, you can still win. Yeah.
Okay, so dengan tahan semua tu, was there like a different strategy yang you amalkan? Like apa yang you rasa bila you tengok balik membezakan performance you pada hari tu yang boleh menjayakan the title?
Kalau compare, I think I punya mental time tu memang dah extreme. So masa tu bila I menang tu, I sendiri pun rasa bangga gila dengan diri because I sendiri tak expect I boleh go beyond that tau. Sebab certain people memang sampai kat situ dia macam stop. Because I sendiri ada terfikir macam okay, I cannot do this anymore. Tapi I rasa my mum pun jenis yang macam apa-apa you buat, go all out. So time tu I wanted to win this for the family jugalah. Sebab time tu dah masuk top 4. So kalau I lepaskan, I dah memang confirm bronze lah. But to me is sayang lah sebab you dah sampai all the way, dah fly, dah training, dah penat-penat. So at least bagi je lah another chance. Maybe you menang, kalau kalah pun tak apa, at least you dah try. Tu je lah.
That's awesome. What did you do to celebrate lepas you dah jadi world champion? What's the first?
Tak sempat celebrate pun sebab the next day ada event lain. So the next day kita ada double dengan trios. So the next day double trios tu kena go through the pain again. So I told my teammate, I cakap tak apa, I takkan celebrate until kita dah habis. Baru I boleh process whatever happening.
Yeah. So lepas you dah jadi world champion, did it make it easier for you after that?
No, because I know expectation from people, expectation from mungkin MSN, ISN or everyone kat luar semua nak kita maintain the goal. I mean whatever pun mesti nak medal. To me is lagi banyak pressure bila you nak kekalkan kemenangan daripada you nak menang something. Yeah.
And how do you deal with it?
For me, it's always I put myself first. So apa-apa pun yourself, you sendiri yang kena go through tu, bukan orang lain. Maybe orang akan sentiasa bercakap pun. So kalau you kalah ke you menang, you kena accept and learn from it. And I always tell myself, I dah menang berapa banyak title pun, I have to stay humble. So maybe one day you dekat atas, tapi not all the time. So mungkin masa you tengah kat bawah tu, that time mungkin you have to reflect balik. Mungkin yourself ke, you tengah train teruk ke, or you tengah malas ke, benda macam tu. It's always go back to yourself.
Adakah macam cara yang orang layan you berubah selepas you jadi world champion?
Layan mungkin tak lah, tapi mungkin orang tengok you berbeza lah kot. I rasa bila you tak menang pun orang akan pandang you tepi. Macam pandang you, oh kenapa you tak menang, right? Tapi untuk I, result tu yang menyatakan everything. So bila you cakap bad pasal orang tu pun, bila orang tu bagus, dia akan tetap bagus juga. Mungkin rezeki semua orang lain-lain. So you tak boleh lah cakap one day dia menang banyak ke you dengki. But maybe one day if you work hard, you pun akan sampai situ. To me it's always like that. So kalau you nak win something, you kena prove to yourself yang you nak. Bukannya you kutuk orang ke, you pandang orang macam jealous ke apa. Tapi at the end, you're not anywhere. Tu je lah.
You've done bowling for a really long time. And I think untuk committed dengan sesuatu sepanjang itu is already like a really amazing thing. Have you always loved it? Macam dalam tempoh yang you committed dengan bowling ni, adakah setiap hari you bangun you rasa macam, I love bowling, I want to do it? Ke pernah je ada macam fasa yang you rasa macam,
Honestly, I rasa semua orang ada fasa tu kot. At a certain time, bila you dah habis a long tournament, and then the next time you kena training lagi, you the next day tu you bangun macam, oh kenapa I buat macam ni kat diri I sendiri. But itu your career. For me, it's my career. I have a job. I mean, as a professional athlete, every day bila you tengah down ke apa, you still have to show up. Itu bezanya bila kita as a athlete, kita punya disiplin lah. Daripada kecil, whatever you malas ke, you apa, you still have to show up for training. So, bila you kat training, takkan you tak train kan? You kena keep on baling juga. So, nak bangun pagi tu, is more on mental jugalah untuk I lah. Bila I bangun tu, everyday I akan macam, tak apalah, pergi je lah. Malas-malas pun kena still baling 2-3 shot. So, bila dah sampai alley tu 2-3 shot pun, oh tak apalah, dah sampai sini. Training je lah. Macam tu lah. Everyone macam tu, right? You kena bangun pergi kerja pun, oh kena pergi kerja sebab itu career you, gaji you, macam tu lah.
Good to know. Good to know. So, okay, I do want to ask you sebagai seorang atlet wanita, do you rasa untuk jadi seorang atlet wanita, dia ada beza dari segi macam mana you punya career akan flourish ataupun dari mana, macam mana you training daripada atlet-atlet yang lelaki? Do you think there's a difference in your sport?
For us, I think yang beza dia prize money. Our prize money selalu kurang dengan the guys.
Really?
Yeah, sebab our entry tak ramai macam the guys. And attention selalu dapat the guys because ramai nak masuk. So I hope one day, because I think susah, tapi I hope one day mungkin ramai lagi girls, women yang main bowling, and our prize money pun akan increase sama level dengan the guys.
Why do you think macam tak ramai sangat wanita di luar sana?
Because I think tak banyak exposure lagi. Mostly macam kids semua, mungkin the kids yang like perempuan semua takut nak main bowling, takut nak lawan dengan lelaki or maybe. And then rasa macam to them bowling ni bukan sport yang mungkin netball ke, yang perempuan punya game lah. But then kita orang like us, kita orang lawan je dengan lelaki kadang-kadang because it's a good good for mental juga, sebab bila lelaki main dengan perempuan, kita fight dengan each other, benda tu macam ada ego sendiri. You can see siapa yang good at communicate, siapa yang macam bagus bowling. Macam tu lah.
Dia menarik sebab I tak rasa pun bowling dikira macam sejenis sukan yang sangat lasak ataupun yang susah untuk perempuan main.
But certain I think because it's expensive. Because you nak beli satu bola pun around 8 to 900 ringgit. So I tak rasa everyone afford that. So mungkin that's one of the reason why orang kurang dalam bowling juga.
Is there anything yang boleh dibuat untuk mengubah? Like what do you think would be something that you wish you could change?
I think for now I'm grateful because sekarang social media and then sekarang banyak exposure for during macam more to bowling. Masa dulu tak ada banyak macam ni. Sekarang banyak kids pun banyak buat TikTok pasal bowling. So it's a good thing. Slowly and then now I rasa I can see banyak pelapis yang perempuan dah start main, which is very good for us juga.
I think dia also mulakan dengan kalau kita nampak seorang yang boleh jadi an inspiration kan. So sekarang I nak tanya you pasal your World Cup champion title and macam mana you jadi the first ever Malaysian woman to achieve this. How did that feel?
Honestly, I tak tahu pun I the first woman to win that.
Really?
Yeah, masa menang tu, masa coach I jumpa peluk, dia kata, you tahu tak ada orang pun pernah menang this World Cup title. And then dalam tu masa tu, because I tengah fokus sangat dekat my lane, right? So lepas dah habis tu macam lega. Then baru terfikir, oh ya, tak pernah. Because orang paling jauh dapat pun second. I pun pernah dapat third je. So ni macam one of the biggest achievement for me jugalah. Tapi time tu memang tak terfikir lah sebab the next day still ada event juga. So it's mostly bila kita ada menang single ni, for us lah bowling, is always bonus. Sebab our main target is always the team event. Because semua orang dapat bawa balik medal.
Tapi you cukup appreciate, like do you ada masa ke nak macam really enjoy all of these amazing things? Ke selepas you dah dapat satu, it's always the next one, the next one, the next one?
Yeah, it's always the next one. Macam hari tu World Cup pun, kita orang habis World Championship last year. 1 week after that terus pergi SEA Games. So our tournament mostly ada banyak back to back.
Tapi apa yang next for you? Like lepas you dah bukan cukup lah, dia takkan pernah cukup I rasa untuk seorang yang kompetitif kan. Tapi selepas you dah menang dalam beberapa categories of like world champion, world this, apa yang seterusnya yang you nak aim?
My highest target is one Asian Game. I hope lepas ni ada balik Asian Game. Sebab last time, our last Asian Game dekat Jakarta, Palembang, Indonesia. Lepas tu dah tak ada because diorang tak masukkan game. So I hope Asian Game sebab I tak ada goal lagi Asian Game. And the professional women's punya dekat US. Tu I nak menang satu title juga.
Wow.
So dah complete.
That's awesome to know sebab I pun tak terfikir that there was anything after world. I thought like lepas you jadi world champion, you dah jadi world champion. You know what I mean? Like what?
Hopefully one day maybe Olympic. Tapi tak tahulah
kalau
ada
masukkan kan.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay.
That's my target lah. Kalau hopefully ada one day kat Olympic. Tapi harap-harap tahu. Tua lah kan.
Tak lah. Tapi bowling ni dia tak ada like a very concrete time yang you nak kena habis main kan?
No.
Okay.
Tapi bila you dah getting older, you tahulah your body pun nak recover lambat. But bowling memang tak ada. Because dekat US pun, dia orang punya senior is as good as us. Macam tu.
So that's kind of good. So you tak payah risau yang satu hari nanti you punya kejaya akan tak ada ataupun you takkan boleh show up for your kejaya dekat macam mana, like contohnya if you have a really physically demanding sport like athletics or something macam tu, then memang you kena bersedia lah. Tapi in your own life, do you think that you will be doing sports forever?
No, I don't think so lah. Sebab to me, selagi I tak ada injury, I'm okay. Tapi bila dah start ada one injury, I don't think my body boleh nak recover as fast as before this. So now I punya target is always gym, just to make sure my body okay, and then pergi rehab dekat ISN or pergi jumpa doktor bila whatever kena injured. Tapi kalau boleh nak try avoid that as much as I can lah, sebab so that bila I tak ada injury, I boleh go longer.
And kalau contohnya satu hari nanti, kalau you ada do you have a plan for it? No, belum lagi lah.
No, not yet.
Okay.
For now, no.
Tapi if you imagine kan in the future, satu hari nanti kalau dah tiba masa ni for you to step back from the sport, what do you think you would do after?
Tak terfikir lagi, tapi mungkin coaching, one of it, or most probably is more to coaching lah kot. Or maybe buka my own academy.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sebab mostly kita dah ada basic, so senang nak ajar all the kids. Yeah.
So maksudnya macam selepas you dah for your whole life, apa yang you nampak adalah you sentiasa akan memberi masa dan tenaga kembali kepada dunia sukan in bowling. You will always be investing in it. Wow.
Because I think I'm good at that. So bila I nak buat benda lain, takut nanti kan lagi take time for me nak sampai ke tahap yang mana I sampai sekarang. Yeah.
That's a lovely level of passion.
Ya kan?
Yeah. It's really awesome untuk dalam hidup ni untuk jumpa sesuatu yang boleh membuatkan you passion for the rest of your life. Wow. And you're a world champion at it too. That's a blessing.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
It really is. Okay, so sebagai seorang yang sangat passionate pasal bowling, apakah satu benda yang you kalau ada kuasa untuk mengubah pasal sukan, tak kisahlah if it's about the competition or if it's about the behind the scenes or if it's about the training or accessibility, what is the one thing that you would change pasal sukan bowling hari ni kalau you ada peluang?
Bowling.
Yeah.
One is the prize money I check out tu. And then second is I think more exposure pasal bowling. Because now orang selalu cakap bowling je is just like macam main fun. Actually no. So I nak people tahu yang bila kita masuk competition tu, it's not easy. Bukannya macam more to luck or memang kita saja-saja ke kadang kalah. No, it's actually more kalau it's not your day, it's not your day. Luck is 10%, but mostly it's technique and also mental. So I hope that one day there's more exposure pasal bowling.
Interesting. Kalau let's say time yang you tengah off season, apa yang you buat untuk jadi diri you balik?
I hang out with my family balik. Kadang-kadang suka tak dapat. Then sometimes bila my friends semua ajak keluar pun, keluarlah kan time tu je free.
Yeah.
And then mostly I pergi gym or like no pressure punya situation lah. Gym tak ada pressure or main pickleball just to make sure ada balik all the maintain my stamina tapi with no pressure. So I rasa, and sometimes I bake.
Yeah. Yes.
I buat cookies. Dulu I buat cookies. So mungkin this year I akan start balik because my off season lama until April.
So dalam off season you still training juga?
Yes, training because kita orang under Majlis Sukan Negara. So we all kena train Monday to Friday. Gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Saturday, Sunday je free.
So it's a full-time job.
That's why I say it's a bowling career for us.
Yeah. And itu I rasa yang orang paling macam misconception juga. Like,
betul.
you can be a full-time athlete. Yes, you can.
Betul?
Yeah. So what's next for you? World champion?
This year ada World Cup and also Asian Championship bulan 10. But for now memang just open tournament. Our next tournament is April. Then dah tak ada. Then ada back-to-back start April. And then most probably I'm going for professional women's dekat US. And then balik for World Cup and Asian Championship. Yeah.
Big year for you.
Big year.
Big
But
year.
sedih lah because this year patutnya Asian game.
Yeah.
But there's no Asian game for us.
Do you still get nervous? Ke macam tak dah?
Masa masuk step ladder like 50-50 dah lah. Not as nervous macam dulu, memang kadang-kadang menggeletar, but now no more I think.
Yeah. That's good. Lots of progress. So untuk tahun ni yang akan datang yang besar-besar ni yang you macam impikan, you ready?
I tengah work on my physical game. So I hope by that time I dah ready. Tapi I tengah now macam tengah low sikit lah sebab I tengah memang betul-betul nak change my timing. So I hope until sampai May lah mungkin I dah ready. Yeah.
I'm sure you will be.
Yeah, I
Okay,
hope
sebelum
so.
kita habis kita punya episode hari ni, we do have a rapid fire.
Oh.
So are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. Satu tip yang paling penting untuk orang yang nak try bowling.
Timing, basic. Satu tip yang basic, fundamental, basic.
Okay. Satu benda yang you takkan keluar daripada rumah kalau you tak bawa.
Handphone.
Selain daripada handphone.
Selain handphone,
Selain daripada wallet, kad pengenalan, driver's license.
let me think. Apa yang
Itu semua jawapan yang tak diterima ya.
What tak terima?
Sebab dia boring.
Oh, okay. Lipstick pun tak terima.
Lipstick okey. Lipstick boleh terima. Boleh terima. Okay. Berapa kali pernah tercampak ataupun terlepas bola sebelum dapat baling?
Oh, ni mesti dah pernah tengok dah ni. 2 kali.
2
In a
kali
row,
saja? Ya.
So you gelak.
It happens sometimes.
During World
Miss World Champion and World Cup Champion, I rasa it's not a problem. Mungkin itu adalah
I sendiri
secret
pun
untuk jadi
malu.
World Champion. Taklah. Itulah secret untuk jadi World Champion kot. Kena lalu sekali 2. Okey lah tu.
Jangan ikut lah kalau boleh.
Okay. Satu filem yang you dah tengok banyak kali dan kalau boleh you akan tengok banyak lagi kali.
Kabi Kushi Kabi Gam.
Tiba. Okay. Unexpected. Ayam gepuk atau nasi lemak?
Ayam gepuk.
Ada. Okay. Satu hari kalau tak ada phone, apa yang you akan buat? Buat tempoh masa 24 jam. Di
Tengok.
pandang I macam
Tengok movie.
tengok Kabi Kushi Kabi Gam.
No, itu pun 3 hours je kan. Mungkin I bake lah.
Okay,
Yeah,
boleh lah. Ada tak satu benda yang you selalu overthinking?
Ada? Like maybe I'm not enough.
As a world champion, you still rasa macam tu?
Yeah. Mungkin to me like macam I rasa macam I dah menang ni pun tapi macam tak cukup untuk diri I sendiri. So I still need to do better the next one. Just self-doubt lah.
I can't believe that a world champion has self-doubt juga.
It's not easy.
Yeah, I know. Tapi dia macam, how do you overcome it?
Bila because of ISN ada psychologist, kadang-kadang I talk to them, I talk to her or what, tapi sometimes it's mostly I sendiri lah. Kadang-kadang dalam bilik dengar lagu, visualize apa tengah buat. Tapi benda macam tu is not easy because I think because of that juga kot my mental quite strong.
Yeah.
Sebab I rasa diri I tak cukup, so I rasa macam I keep on kena challenge myself to do better.
Very relatable tau.
Ya, sama kan?
I rasa semua orang rasa benda tu kadang-kadang. Yeah.
You menang macam mana pun, you still akan rasa tu juga one day. Deepnya.
Wow. Dia tetap jadi sesuatu yang kita kena usahakan. Yeah. Okay, last one. Satu advice ataupun quote yang paling penting dalam your life dan siapa yang ajar?
Be humble. It's from my parents. No matter berapa banyak title you menang pun, at the end of the day, you still kena work better. So, you kena stay humble. You tak payah ego besar because you tak sentiasa ke atas.
Thank you so much meluangkan masa bersama
Thank
kami.
you.
And all the best. I can't wait to see you win more.
I mean, hopefully kita jumpa the bintang kecil.
Tak, janganlah dalam 20 tahun lagi.
Oh,
20 tahun lagi daripada sekarang, I tak nak kira pun I usia berapa.
Jangan. I dah sama dengan you dah sekarang.
You dah sama dengan I? Tak, you sama dengan I next month. So, buat tempoh 6 bulan,
6
kita usia yang sama.
Oh, okay.
So, am I even really older than you? Oh, girl. It's just a year. Oh my God. I hampir 96 tau.
Dan tak
Hampir.
jadi.
Tak jadi, 2 bulan.
Macam mana boleh 2 bulan tak jadi?
Sebab I punya spirit Gen Z, tapi I keluar awal. So, I keluar time millennial. Padahal sepatutnya kalau ikutkan.
96 pun bukan Gen Z lah. Kita millennial juga.
Kita tolak 2 tahun daripada COVID.
Oh, okay.
So, logic. Just percaya je lah. Logic. Dan I ada terbaca kan recently. Kalau you nak satu excuse, satu alasan yang you boleh pakai untuk mengapa kita sebenarnya adalah Gen Z. Kalau you seorang zillennial, maksudnya you dilahir di antara tahun 93 dan 96, you're a zillennial. Dan kalau you seorang zillennial yang ada seorang abang ataupun kakak dan you lah zillennial yang you anak terakhir dalam your family kan, you are a millennial. Sorry, tak ada alasan untuk you. Tapi dan ini relevant untuk kita. Kalau you seorang zillennial dan you tak ada adik-beradik yang lagi tua daripada you, maksudnya you the first child and you ada an adik and adik you is a Gen Z, then you're a Gen Z.
So you Gen Z lah.
I'm a Gen Z because
So
adik I
you
is
ada
a Gen
adik,
Z.
right?
You pun Gen Z.
I ada abang.
Oh my god, can't relate. Maksudnya bila you besar, you ada banyak influence daripada millennial, zaman millennial. Oh, I tak ada.
Oh,
I
okay.
yang first. So I
have 3 brothers. Older brother.
baru nak selamatkan you.
Tak
Kenapa
dapat.
why you admit that thing on camera? Sekarang you dah
Orang
tak ada
semua
alasan dah
tahu
nak join
dah
kita.
macam tu.
Lah dah terlambat kan. Okay, well, sorry. Alasan tu untuk I je.
Untuk you je.
Untuk I je.
Untuk
Setiap
I
hari
tak
saya akan
sesuai.
jumpa satu cara baru untuk convincekan orang yang I sebenarnya Gen Z. Anyways, thank you meluangkan masa. Selamat datang ke Club 30-an.
Oh, thank you very much.
Dan selamat semoga makin berjaya in your sport, and thank you so much for spending time with us.
Yeah.
Dan kepada anda semua kat rumah, we hope you guys enjoyed our episode, and we'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. Bye.